and kisses him. And there's this incredible moment of reconciliation between Jacob and Esau. Why is this so important? Because an ancient biblical writer put a little phrase in that story. The little phrase is, Esau is Edom. What? Esau is Edom. That ancient writer, slipping that phrase into the story, basically is saying, we could reconcile with Edom like Jacob reconciled with Esau. That little phrase changed everything. It offered hope. It offered another voice, another possibility. Someone is saying, no, violate the border. Dash across there. Make peace. If Jacob and Esau can do it, maybe we can too. Similarly with the Moabites, my friends. One of the most intense issues in the Hebrew Scriptures is intermarriage with Moabites. Don't do it. That's them. We don't associate with them. And then along comes a storyteller that tells a little story about an Israelite woman who had 2 sons, and they flee from famine by going into Moab. And the 2 sons marry 2 Moabite girls. The 2 sons then die. And the elder woman gathers her Moabite daughters and says, my daughters, stay with your people, I must go home. Of course she does. She has to go back to her tribal association so that she has a home to go to. That's how it worked in those days. One of the Moabite girls says, nice knowing you, Mom. I'm staying here. The other one surprises the ancient as well as the modern reader by saying, no, please, I will go with you. And in fact, this woman, her name is Ruth, will go on to be the hero of the story. In fact, it's Ruth that marries Naomi back into the tribe so that Naomi can be taken care of. Ruth was the hero of the story. That's not the point. The point is, a Moabite woman was the hero of the story. In the midst of this mistrust, in the midst of part of the tradition that says, no, maintain the borders, we don't cross, we don't associate with them, there are these other voices that are bubbling up saying, no, what about Ruth? No, what about Jacob and Esau? Border running. I would suggest, my friends, that in many of our traditions, oftentimes within our religious traditions, there are those voices. They are loud, they are clear. They are the voices that say, maintain the borders. It's us and them. Loyalty means keep the difference, respect the borders, patrol them. But there are always these other voices, aren't there? There's these other hopeful suggestions. No, go over there. Find out what they're like. Meet them. Get to know them. Maybe things aren't so bad. Maybe, like Jacob and Esau, maybe Esau can be Edom. Maybe Ruth can be Moab. Maybe there's hope. I would suggest, my friends, that part of our task of being people of goodwill from our various religious traditions is, although we were talking earlier today, we were talking about the importance of learning from other religious traditions. Yes, that's true. And that is very important. But also, I think that it's equally important for us to look within our traditions, to find those voices of hope, those voices that say, no, don't respect that border, run it. Violate it. Go meet with those other people. Find out if they're really what you're being told. Be an atheist when it comes to being told to believe in hatred. Be a border runner when it comes to being told to respect the differences and don't associate. So, my friends, I leave you with those 2 invitations. In the name of radical faith, be atheists to hatred. In the name of radical faith, run borders that separate us. Thank you very much, friend.
It's kind of difficult to be here and run a border in the Mideast.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of mosques and things to go and make friends, but I don't know how to approach you, the great idea that you put forth.
I would say that those bigger borders have small versions, and those smaller versions of those borders are amongst us here, even in Los Angeles. I mean, I think that we can train to be good border runners by running the local borders that separate us, by insisting on, no, let's try to set up a little meeting here. Let's try to get some folks together to talk that don't normally meet each other and don't speak with each other. Now, here's some warning. It takes just a little bit of training and thought to be a border runner. Why? Because there's some things that'll start happening to border runners. Number one, you'll start being treated as someone who's betraying your group. Where are you going? You're going to meet them? They are unreasonable. You can't talk to those people, right? So you're going to have to face some heat, right? The other thing you need to be prepared to face is when you cross that border, you're not going to be paraded as a hero. You know, I mean, if this is really groups that have tension with each other, then at first you might be a spy, right? You might be trying to change us. And even worse, this is the real temptation for a border runner, and that is being treated like a hero. Why? Because that makes you so unusual. Wow, you're a hero for coming over here and talking to us. You're not like your other people, are you? Okay, see, then suddenly the whole thing gets defeated because now the only reason you've run the border is because you're unusual. Look, you're running a border to try to build a bridge, not to be a hero. And boy, I got to tell you, that is so tempting because it is so nice to be treated like you're unusual. And you can't get suckered on that one because you're there to try to build something, not just be unusual. So border runners have to be a little careful that there's going to be some things happening as you're trying to do that. So, but as I say, that can be done locally as well as internationally.
Yesterday, I guess it was, Jimmy Carter met with the Hamas leader.
Yeah.
So already there's a tremendous amount of controversy about the actions he's taken as an American, as a Nobel Peace Prize winner, and already the sides are starting to develop. So how do you see this going forward?
Yeah, what a great question. I support talking with anybody. I think what he's doing is the right thing. I think we should talk to anybody. I'm just not in favor of this "we'll only talk when" approach. It seems to me that you talk to get to when. And you know, my father was a pharmacist who ran a small neighborhood drugstore, and you know, he was held at gunpoint a number of times, you know, robbed in a kind of, you know, the life of a small corner drugstore, right? You know, the stupidest thing in the world would have been to say, "I'm not talking to you till you put that gun down." No, I'm talking all the time, you know. I'm doing as much talking as I can because when you're talking, you're not shooting, you know. So this business of laying terms to talking instead of talking to get to terms, you know, that's part of that rejection you might feel as a border runner.